What if you were born in a different family? What if you were born in the royal family, in the president's family? For some of you, maybe the aspiration is not that high. What if you were born to the, in the household of the chief? Depending on what your desire is. What if you were born male or female? What if you were born with certain gifts and certain experiences and exposure to different things? My name is Angie Obwaka, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at the spiral that often happens in the hearts and the minds of lots of different people in regards to what if, the what if question. There is nobody on the face of the planet who doesn't wonder, who doesn't consider at some point how things would have played out if things were, in a different set of situations. Sometimes we read stories of days of past and you think, man, if I was there during World War II, I could have done something. I could have given advice that could have saved our African nations from colonization, for example. Or if I was born in the future, let's talk about sci-fi and things like that. I could have contributed to some phenomenal technology and medicine and different kinds of things. But how helpful is that process? For me personally, when I started sort of like, I could have done this, I could have done that. And then I sort of spiral into a place of hopelessness. Like, maybe God didn't really know what he was doing when he appointed for me to be born in the 21st century. Or he maybe could have mixed me up with somebody else. Somebody else was supposed to be sent in the year I was born, and and then I was supposed to be sent some other time. But the Bible tells us something very different, and let's consider that together. Acts chapter 17, verse 26 and 27 is such a good challenge, such a good reminder, such a good encouragement to me personally, and I hope it will be for you as well. The Bible says, I'm reading from the Amplified Version, it says, "And he, God, made from one man every nation of mankind to live on the face of the earth, having determined their appointed times and the boundaries of their lands and territories. This was so that they would seek God, if perhaps they might grasp for him and find him, though he is not far from each of us." In this particular passage, Paul is writing and he says that, God is the one who made every single person on the face of the planet, regardless of where you were born, how it is you ended up here, whether your parents loved each other or they were mad at each other and you are the baby that held the family together. Sometimes those narratives are told to us and it's not the best. But what Paul is saying here is that every single person had an appointed time. God appointed the day of their birth, the place of their birth, in terms of the boundaries, talking about the boundaries of their lands and the territories. The fact that you were born in Nyahururu and not in Kakamega, for example, is God who appointed it. And he says that he put those specific bounds in terms of your parents, in terms of the day, the time, the place, the season that you were born, so that in that particular time that you might get to know him. First and foremost, it says, so that you would seek God. The set of circumstances that surround your birth, the place, the location, the time, the family, are all a setup so that you'd be able to seek God, so that you'd be able to find him, and so that you'd be able to live in relationship with him and be able to express him as only you can in that particular time and season. And so the reality is none of us can get a do-over in regards to where we would be born and what we could do. But the assurance that I want to give you today is that you are not a mistake. Your birth was not a mistake. Your family is not a mistake. Your experiences have not been a mistake. But God has used those, and God continues to use them, and God desires to use them for you to be able to seek him, for you to be able to find him. He is not far from any of us. Paul writes here in verse 26, he is close to you. And today, if you are in a place of difficulty, if you're in a place where you are struggling to see how it all makes sense, because maybe it just seems like a sick joke. Sometimes our lives just seem like they're just going and they're just happening and it's just random. It is not random. God appointed the place of your birth. God has his eye on you, and he is desiring that you'd reach out for him. He's desiring that you'd get to know him and that you'd be able to find meaning in this life that he has given you through a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so if you're there and you need encouragement, you need to speak to somebody, just to be able to pray with you, to be able to counsel with you, to be able to share their own stories with you, because sometimes we feel like we're just by ourselves in this struggle, even as Christians or even before are coming to know Jesus, please reach out to us with the numbers on the screen and even in the comment section below. We would be happy to have a conversation with you. We'd be happy to encourage you and to remind you and to be those that walk alongside you in this journey of knowing that you're not a mistake. Your life, your birth, and the series of events of your life are not a mistake. God bless you, and we'll see you next time here on CITAM Church Online.